Everyone thought the story had ended when the police freed the rich woman who once took a poor boy into her house. But what she did next will shock you deeply. Before I continue, please subscribe so you don't miss emotional and true-to-life stories like this. When the judges finished, the town thought the story was over. Chike went back to his small house with his mother. Mrs. Adanna moved to a smaller home and began to meet people at a support group. The law said she must pay for Chike's school for 2 years and see a counselor. Everyone said that was the end. But life does not end with papers. The days that followed were full of quiet questions. Chike's mother washed her son clothes. She counted his steps. She watched what he ate. Chike sat at the table and read the books Mrs. Adanna had bought him. He kept one book tucked under his pillow. At night, he dreamed of the large house and the woman who kept him. He felt many things at once: anger, fear, pity, and a strange memory of kindness. 2 months later, Chike's teacher came with news. "There is a summer class," she said, "for boys who need help with reading. The class is not far. It is paid for." Chike's heart beat fast and slow at once. He knew who paid. He asked his mother. She looked away and said, "You go if you want. I will wait here." He went. At the class, a small woman laughed gently. It was Mrs. Adanna. She had come to keep her promise. She sat at the back of the room every day and watched the boys read. She gave small candies at times. She paid for pens. Chike saw her, and his face did not show anger, only a careful calm. He allowed the lessons. Chike's nights were not easy. He would wake and ask himself if the woman had only used kindness to hold him. He thought about the police in the parlour, the notepad, the way his mother cried. He asked his teacher and some older friends if they had seen other things like this. Many had stories of people who wanted what they did not own. But no one had a clear answer for him. Mrs. Adanna visited the market sometimes. People watched her with mixed faces. Some still whispered. She looked smaller now. In the evenings, she wrote in a small notebook. She walked slowly along the small road that led to the support center. She tried to learn how to be near children without taking them. That was not easy. One quiet morning, a builder knocked on the small house where Mrs. Adanna lived. He had a parcel for her. She opened it and found an old leather diary wrapped with string. The diary had belonged to her sister, the one she remembered with tears. Inside were letters, dates, and a small map of the old mansion rooms. There was one short line she kept reading: "Find the room where I laughed the loudest." The words were soft, but they made her legs shake. Mrs. Adanna decided to go back to the big house, not to live there, but to clear her past. She wanted to face the dust and the rooms where she had kept memories and secrets. Chike heard she would go. He did not know why the diary mattered to her, but he felt a pull he could not name. He followed with his teacher when she went one afternoon to leave some books. Inside the mansion, the rooms felt like old films. The air smelled like old paper. Mrs. Adanna walked slowly and touched the frames on the walls. She opened cabinets and pulled out boxes. In one small chest, she found paper and letters that showed a man had once visited the house often. There were pictures of a smiling boy, not Chike, but a small boy with a round face and a date written beside the picture. The date was the year she had lost her sister. She sat on the floor, and the words in her chest broke again. Chike watched from the doorway. He felt pain for the woman he did not understand. He did not move forward. He wanted to ask questions, but the house felt sacred and full of tears. Mrs. Adanna read the letters and, for the first time in years, she spoke loudly. She told the small group about a promise she had made to her sister to always look after children who had no parents. The promise had changed in her mind. She had used it to keep a boy who belonged to others. As they prepared to leave, a small folded note lay under the heavy curtain in the music room. Chike picked it up. The handwriting was thin and fast. The note said, "Some promises are heavy. Some will break you. Some must be given back." No name. No date. Chike held the note like it burned. He looked at Mrs. Adanna. Her hands trembled. She did not say the note was for her, but in her eyes, there was a plate of sorrow. That night, the town began to talk again. Someone had seen a woman walk by the market with a small package. Another person said they saw a man leave the city a long time ago. The note moved like wind on dry grass. People asked what it meant. No one could say. Mrs. Adanna began to change. The support group helped. She learned how to listen to children without taking them. She started a small reading club for children from the market. Chike came once and watched. He saw that she now sat in a circle and let children talk. She did not give money or gifts fast. She listened. But inside her chest, a heavy peace still sat. She wanted to atone for what she had done. She wanted to make a repair. One day she wrote a long letter and gave it to Chike's mother. In it, she said she was sorry. She said she would support Chike's school and pay for a new bookshelf at his school. She asked for nothing in return. Chike's mother read and folded the paper. She kept quiet. She said, "We will take help for the boy. But do not come near our house again." Mrs. Adanna nodded. It was the first real answer. A year passed. Chike grew taller and spoke with calm. He taught a small group of children at the reading club. Mrs. Adanna came sometimes to help with the cups of water. One day, a new woman walked into the club. She had red hair tied back and a kind face. She held an old camera and she laughed like she remembered life. She told the group she had once been her sister's friend. Her name was Neka. Neka held up a small paper and said she had more letters. The letter spoke of a boy who had once stayed at the house many years ago. The boy was not like Chike, but the memory of the house had stayed with Neka for a long time. She said she had come to see what truth remained and to bring a picture that might help heal. She handed the picture to Mrs. Adanna. It was a paw print of a small party where many children had laughed. One child had a round face like the photos in the chest. The town watched as the woman who had once taken a boy now sat in a small room with children she could not own. People still stared sometimes, but many also gave small nods of support. Mrs. Adanna learned to do good without taking. She helped a child to meet a teacher. She paid a small market lady for bread for Chike's school. She learned to give in a way that did not take. Chike learned to hold both pain and kindness at once. He stood before a small group one afternoon and read a short story about a boy who found his way home. People clapped. He thought of the woman who had taken him and the woman who had kept books in the club. He felt a slow, steady truth: being safe is the most precious thing. He forgave in parts, and he did not forget. The diary and the letters did not give simple answers. They gave memory and a map of what had been broken. They gave Mrs. Adanna a chance to live in truth instead of hiding behind wealth and loneliness. The town did not forget quickly, but it allowed a new way to begin. Chike finished school and began to teach in a small way. Mrs. Adanna still wrote letters, and sometimes she stood alone and looked at the night. But she had learned how to live with others and to let children keep their own lives. This story does not end with a clean page. It ends with people who tried to fix what went wrong. The law did its work, the town spoke, and hearts began to change. Some people said Mrs. Adanna was punished enough. Some said more should happen. The truth is the town held both answers and questions.